Hello to all our listeners. I'm Valerie, and this is WKNC's Off the Record podcast where we interview North Carolinian artists. I recently got the chance to interview Amelia Leonard, who creates music with an indie folk vibe. Here it is.
So let's get started talking about your music. So I listened to all of it.
Really?
And it was really great. So I just want to ask, like, when you started making music and how come you chose that genre?
Well, I'm flattered. Thank you. Honestly, it was kind of a twofold. I don't really think it was a decision. It happened, I think, for two reasons. One was just the pure accessibility of just a guitar, you know? Like, my brother had moved out, but he left his old guitar around. And I think folk is something you can do. Folk and singer-songwriter you can really do. You don't have to have much. Or that first whole album, Lionhearted, I made it on my phone with just the Apple earbuds and the two guitars that we had lying around the house. So it was part of the genre decision was the accessibility of it, and then another part was just I love listening to that kind of music. So I do think it bleeds over into what I created for sure.
Okay, great. Do you have a favorite artist or favorite artists that have inspired you?
Man, I've loved Taylor Swift since I was super young, so she's up there for me. I love Brandi Carlile as far as folk goes. I can't ever stop listening to her. I love the Oh Hellos, and I'm listing music that kind of bleeds into what I make, but I do listen to mostly everything, honestly. I love Sleep Token, Slipknot, Deftones, Travis Scott. There's lots of things that I listen to most things, honestly, which I like being that way. It's nice.
Well, it's funny that you said Taylor Swift. When I was listening to your music, it reminded me of Evermore.
Really?
So, yeah.
Oh, that's the biggest I don't know if you know me, but that's the highest compliment. That's one of my favorite albums.
Yes.
Thank you.
It sounded like that, or folklore, or
Gosh.
Tortured Poets.
Yeah, the anthology.
Yeah.
That's high praise. Thank you.
Yes, of course. So, are you from North Carolina?
I am. I was born in Michigan. Lived in St. Louis for a little bit, lived in Cary for a little bit, and then moved to Durham. So I was raised in Durham. I consider Durham to be where I'm from because I turned 10 there, and then those formative years happened in Durham. So, yeah.
Okay, nice. I'm from Charlotte.
Nice.
That's where I was born.
Yeah, my sister and brother go to college up there.
Oh,
yeah.
Where?
UNC Charlotte. They're,
nice.
Yeah, my brother just graduated. And
what year are you here?
I'm a junior.
Oh, same.
Yeah, nice, cool.
What's your major?
I do international studies.
Oh, okay.
It's nice. I like it.
All right, nice. So you have 2 albums out now.
I do.
Yes. So they're called Lionhearted and Prego?
Brego.
Brego?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. It's all right.
Sorry. So can you just tell me about the names of those albums and what inspired you and how you made them?
Yeah. That's a good question. Lionhearted, I started making when I was in high school, maybe that fall semester of high school, and I remember I used to make covers. I still do when I'm bored, but I'll put them on Bandcamp. I don't know if that's legal or not, but I put them up there. And yeah. And I remember I showed one to my dad, and he listened to it. I think it was a pretty sentimental song, so the lyrics were, up there emotional wise. And I remember him looking at me and being like, "I want to hear what you have to say." And I was like, okay. And so I actually started writing, I think maybe partially because of that conversation. So I started writing Lionhearted, and those songs kind of came about naturally. They just kind of poured out of me for those next, I think I wrote for 2.5 years or something, because it was something I would do after school. It was a little after school project. But the name, my last name is Leonard, and Leonard means Lionhearted. And so when I was thinking of, a way to group all of these songs together and what they had in common, the only thing I really had on my mind at the time was I felt responsible for them. So I think just throwing my last name on them made sense to me. And then for the second one, actually, it's a little more of a nerdy reference, but I don't know if you know Lord of the Rings in any capacity, but I grew up on Lord of the Rings, and there's this scene in one of the movies where Aragorn gets dragged off a cliff by a monster, wolf, whatever, and he falls down, and his horse, actually, when he's laying there, he doesn't have the strength to get up. This horse named Brego, which means kingly, comes and gets down on its knees and lets Aragorn climb onto it, and it carries him to safety. And I remember that scene felt like music to me. Like, I think when I was thinking of these songs, because I was writing them in a little more of a more complicated time in my life, I guess maybe throughout 2023 and 2024, music for me was that thing that, like, let me climb onto it and get out. So it felt like safety. So and, you know, it was all folky, and it was all, you know, we were around a lot of horses. So I was like, I might as well make it the Brego. Yeah.
You ride horses?
I grew up riding horses.
Ooh.
I haven't lately, but that was my, you know, horses are expensive creatures. But maybe till I was about I don't know, early middle school I used to ride. I haven't lately, but something about playing the guitar makes me feel like I get close to it again. I don't know if that's cringy, but like it's the same kind of piece, you know.
So with your albums, like, do you have like a certain goal with each album, or something that you were trying to do or convey to like your audience?
Right. So it's funny. I actually really only started posting my music on Spotify because my mom was really tired of opening her notes app while driving and trying to play my songs. So I put them on there for her, and then, you know, obviously loved ones and friends are like, well, we want more. And I was like, all right. So it's never really been like a grand goal to have this big thing going on. It's really, when I think about what music actually does for me, again, I think about like the Brego thing, where it's when I come home after a really long day at work or school or otherwise, it's literally all I want to do, and I feel like I need it. And I'll sit down and like these songs just pour out of me, and then I feel better. And it's like I think as far as goals go with the two albums, it was honestly just that, you know, I laugh with my friends about how we went to the mall maybe 2023 in June, and I spent way too much money at Paper Source on this like journal, and I was like, I'm gonna write in this every day, and I wanna, you know, mental health and everything, I'm gonna write in this, and I literally wrote like 2 pages. And instead of writing in that journal, I made Brego. So it was, when I think about all those feelings still existed, they just went somewhere else. And so I think as far as the goal of album goes, I never really had one. It was more of a something that just kind of had to happen. And I like it that way. I don't I feel like when I go into it with like an idea of what I want, I get paralyzed, and I like, if I go down and I sit down like, I'm gonna make a song today, I just don't. Like, it has to just come out, you know.
So when I saw your like flyer thing, the poster that you hung up at Price, it said that you need like backup singers. So do you do live performances?
We're getting ready. We have not done one yet. The only real semblance of a performance I've done is 2024. I sang with my brother, who he has a bigger band, I guess, and they played in Charlotte at Snug Harbor, and we went up there and we sang "Miss the Way" together, which was nice, which is a song that we have together. But that was, as far as something I've been a part of performing, that's the only time I've done that. But I did find some really cool backup singers, and we've been rehearsing a set list, which we do have, and reaching out to little venues, and we're gonna hopefully set something up this coming year, because I do have a third album, which I think is my favorite body of work in my notes app, and and I'd like to maybe get out and sing it in person.
That's great. So it sounds like you have a lot of like support, family support. That's nice.
It is nice. I like it a lot. With family, I make the joke that I'm the least creative person in my family. Like, out of everyone who would have a Spotify, I think it would be like maybe one of my little sisters and my big sister. I'm just like a product of that environment. I'm like the least talented one.
Oh no, I doubt that's true. Oh no.
So it's easy because they all love it, the same thing, you know.
So you said that like your songwriting process is kind of just like, it just happens like naturally.
Yes, ma'am.
So about like when you like produce the music and like the instruments and like the composition, how do you go about doing that?
So honestly, it starts always just with the guitar and the metronome, and then I'll layer the vocals, and then, you know, sometimes the song ends there, and I have a few that are like that where it's just me and the guitar, and then sometimes I won't be ready to walk away from it, and I'll add drums and I'll add bass and I'll add, you know, a little piano. But it's always, I stop when I feel like that song has like reached its peak, And sometimes for songs, it's just like a little somber me and the guitar, and sometimes I get to take them a little further. But I've had times where I've tried to force like more instruments on a song that requires less, and it just sounds a little funky, and it's like that was never, it's not supposed to be that way. So I think it's like you're trying to, every song has a sound, and I'm just trying to find it instead of, you know, yeah.
So do you do like all that production like completely on your own?
Yeah, most of the time I record every instrument is me. That's probably why they all sound like choppy. It's literally all me. And then my brother, who's in a band, he'll put them through the master, which I think just regulates volume. But other than that, and I'll tell him, like, I like to leave them, you know, there's no auto-tune or anything like that. I like to leave them as almost demo-y as possible. I like it to be, like, true to the time, like, where it was created. I don't like to alter things too much, so there's really not a lot to produce, I guess is my point. So I just have this memory. I recorded a cover in, like, 2021, and I remember my sister and her friend, who were younger, obviously, at the time, just running through the halls, like, chasing each other. And every time I listen to the cover, I hear their footsteps running down the hallway. And I remember, like, something about that was super, like, nice to me. And I was like, I think that's when I decided, like, I don't want to tweak it too much. I like hearing, you know, and some of the songs I have right now in my notes app, our walls are thin, and I hear my roommates laughing in the other room or dropping things, and I just leave it. So there's not really much to produce. I guess we master the volume, and occasionally if I like sneeze in the middle of a take, we'll take it out, but that's about it.
So wait, so you have like, do you live on campus?
I do. I'm in Wolf Village.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Little apartment. I don't know if I just like dox myself. Whatever. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. It's not gonna do much. Yeah. Yeah.
But what was I gonna say? Like, do you like record stuff like just in your room?
I do.
Like, okay, nice.
Yeah, it's nice. I'm lucky my roommates like it. I feel
cool.
I feel like if I had gotten roommates who aren't into it, it would probably be pretty annoying to hear me, you know, at like 3 a.m, like making very obscure harmonies through the walls. But they're into it, so it is nice.
That's
and I
nice.
do record in my room.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's also cool that like you can hear the stuff going on in the dorm.
Yeah.
So I was listening to your music, and I was like listening to it in the order that it has on Spotify, like from like most streamed or whatever.
Right.
And at some point, like it was like it goes very like folksy, indie, like chill, and then like Factory started playing.
Right.
And I was like, oh my goodness, this is a different song. Like this one's a little bit different. Can you like talk about that maybe?
I'll be so for real. I hate Factory.
Oh.
I put it on the album because it was the first one I made. It was October 17th, 2021. I remember recording it, 2021.
Oh, wow.
I remember the day because my mom was like, come outside. Our cousins are over. Like, come be social. And I was like, give me 30 minutes, please. Like, I was like in the middle of a flow state. I had to get it out. And I think since it was the first one, I was, I don't know, a little critical of it. But I put it on the album because my older sister, Abby, was like, if you don't put it on the album, I'm going to kill you. So I was like, all right. I put it on there because she loves it. But that was the first original song that I, you know, after that conversation with my dad, that I sat down and like let myself get out. And I think hate is a strong word. I don't actually hate it, but it's like I think it was before I found a sound that I like, but I still consider it, you know, a sound. I think too, like the music I was listening to at the time, I listened to a lot of folk in 2023. That's all I did was walk around my neighborhood and listen to folk music. That's all I did. But 2021, you know, I was still in school and I was listening to a lot of, I guess it's called bedroom pop. Like, you know, there's Immunity by Clairo and there's Dayglow and like those things with the chorusy guitar and like some of the more prevalent drums, I guess. I don't know, a lot of the Chloe Mariando too. A lot of the music at the time that I was listening to sounded like that. I also think maybe that's why I don't like it, because I like the music that it sounds like, and then I have mine. I'm like, this is not even close. But that, I think maybe my explanation to answer your question in the very long way is that it was the first one.
So it was like before you got into like your rhythm of what you like to make. Okay. Yeah. Well, now I feel awkward because that was like my favorite one.
Really? No. See, I didn't even mean like hate is a strong. I didn't mean to say hate, but I'm happy you like it.
Yeah, it was good. And I wanted to ask about like your background in like singing. Do you have like vocal training or anything like that? Or
Honestly, no. I grew up like I did piano lessons till maybe I was like 9 years old, and then we moved, and I was like, oh, sorry, we're away from the teacher, and so I would play and learn by ear or YouTube, and but as far as singing went, I never really sung until in high school. At my high school, I did the show choir starting in sophomore year. So I remember I had this very talented friend, and we would, we found a love for singing together, and I remember because of her, it was easier for me to have the confidence to join. And I think definitely being in that show choir helped me find my voice and learn about harmonies. I was an alto, so I was like finding those weird middle layers, and now I love putting them in my songs. But as far as vocal training, no. But that show choir high school experience got rid of my performance anxiety, I guess. Yeah.
well, I mean, now you have to start performing again.
I
you
do.
said,
I would like to. Yeah, I would really like to.
Well, that's gonna be fun. Did you find like a good group of people to perform with?
Very talented people.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah.
So, all right, cool. Okay, you said you were in international studies.
Yes.
Are you connecting that with your music in any way, or is that just
honestly not really?
Okay.
Which is, it might sound funky, but I think I already got the point across that like music for me is like an outlet more than anything. It's not like I wouldn't say it's not a big dream, but when I think about a successful music like situation, I think about performing in front of my friends and family, and like maybe some small group of people who found it somehow, and like that would be more than enough for me. It's more just an emotional thing. So no, the international studies decision was not motivated by the music.
What was it motivated by?
Man, this is my dream job, actually. It's a really far off dream. It's really competitive. But and rightfully so. You need the right people to do that kind of work. But I want to be a police officer who works in anti-sex trafficking. So
Oh my God, yes.
I think just being a big sister, and like I try not to let it bleed through a lot from day to day, but I'm quite an anxious person. Maybe you got that from the music. I don't know. But every time my little sisters or even my big sister or brother, they're out and about, I'm like, oh, something's gonna happen, like something, It's just like this. I can't really turn off that part of myself or change my nature. So I've decided to just try to funnel it into something where it is productive and can do good. And so that's where I'm headed, hopefully.
Well, that's really cool. That's really cool. That sounds scary also.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But that's like a great.
Somebody has to do it.
Yeah. I also, when I was looking on your Spotify, you had an artist pick on there, "Turn Off the House" by The National.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And so, why'd you pick that one?
Gosh, I remember I found that song because The National, you probably know if you're talking about Evermore and stuff, but like Aaron Dessner is singer on The National, and their song with Taylor Swift called "The Alcott" was my pick for all of last year. It was my most streamed song of 2024, and I was obsessed with it. And I remember being like, damn, I should probably listen to some of their other stuff. I went and I found that one, and something about the words and just how unique the drums were, and how gentle his voice was while saying such an intense kind of thing. It felt like this threefold thing where it was really, really nice it felt super unique. And whenever changing my picks is rare. Picks are rare, but I don't know. I liked, something about hearing him say, "You're free of it now," over and over and over again at the end of the song. I was like, damn, like I gotta, it touched me a little bit. So I like, that's why I picked it, I think.
Do you plan on like continuing to make the same type of music, like the same genre, for a long time?
I feel like I always will. It's not to say it will be the only thing I do, but there is like a certain comfort. I'm not sure if most people feel the same way or not. Maybe it's just, growing up in, I guess, North Carolina, and you're around folk all the time. But like there's a certain comfort to just like a warm acoustic and somebody singing really gently. I do think I'll do that forever because I think it's what brings me the most peace. But I always do laugh with my friends and say, like, if I could sing like Haley Williams or like Ginger, I would literally only make metal music. God knew I'd be too powerful if I had like an actual voice to do that. So, I guess that's my like fever dream is like being able to like Paramore it up. But I find that I can get away with my lack of vocal expertise with folk. So,
I think you sound good. Have you been to like? I love like rock concerts. Yeah. Have you been to any?
I don't really think I have actually. I've seen 21 Pilots like 3 times.
Oh, cool.
So take from that what you will. But I've seen them 3 times, and I guess they get into the alt rock kind of situation with big drums, big guitars, which I love. And again, if I could make music like that, I would never stop. But Band of Horses too, I guess, which is another big one for music I listen to that kind of bleeds into, I feel like, what I make. Band of Horses. They've got some gentler kind of rock things going on. I don't know if you know, have you ever seen Criminal Minds?
No.
There's a song called The Funeral that's pretty big. It plays when Spencer Reid is like ODing. It's usually how I get people to remember what Band of Horses is. Maybe that's bad to say on the radio. Okay, but that's a good one. It's big drums, big guitars. So maybe those 2 are the closest I've gotten to.
Do you have like a favorite thing to write or make songs about?
I don't know. It's never really a conscious decision that I make. It's more about, I grew up as a middle child, so I try not to really air my needs too much. I like to see what I can handle on my own, and then whatever I can't handle on my own, I feel like that's where the music comes in. So I feel like it's maybe less of a deciding to make music about something and more of a, here's what I don't know how to navigate, and I kind of, it's not like music solves it or anything, but it helps it. I feel like I can get it out of me. You know what I mean? I can get it somewhere, and I can look at it outside of me instead of just, when you keep things in your head, they just inflate and inflate and inflate, and you don't really have. There have been things in my life that I've gone through, and the second I've said them to somebody, when I hear them come out of my mouth, like my own words, it's like it feels so much smaller. So I think it makes it a more manageable thing. So. Maybe that's a depressing answer to it. But it's like, it's
that's
never
real,
really
that's real.
Never really a decision. It's more like at the end of a long day, I come home and whatever I couldn't handle is what is getting sung about.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, it's not only just like fun and awesome and sounds great for other people to listen to, but you also get like some like therapy out of it.
Yeah, I definitely do.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, wow. We've done really good. These answers have been actually really great.
Really?
Yes.
I was worried. I'm Amelia Leonard on Spotify, and I'm pretty sure the picture is just a really blurry one of me holding a blue guitar. That probably means you're in the right spot. And then on Instagram, it's the same blurry picture, and it's also Amelia Leonard, but there's an A in between. So Amelia A. Leonard, and it's me posting a ton of chopped guitar covers. So if you're into that, you can go check it out.
They're
and if not,
better than
that's okay too. And then on Bandcamp, actually, there's a link to the Bandcamp on the Spotify page if you're interested in the really, in retrospect, the covers that I made in like 2021. I promise when you click on the covers thing, the older ones are at the top and the newer ones are at the bottom. I don't know why they do it like that, but I don't sound like that anymore. Now they're going to go listen out of curiosity. Newer ones are at the bottom, but if you want to listen to the covers or tell me to cover anything, I'll probably do it if you tell me to. So there, I think that's all I got.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for this interview.
Sure, thank you. It was great to meet you, Valerie.
Nice to meet you too.
Bye.
So that was my interview with Amelia Leonard. To recap, she makes great indie music just as a therapeutic hobby, and it's certainly worth listening to. I'm Valerie, and this has been WKNC's Off the Record podcast. Thank you for listening.